What up, y'all? This is Tracy from Nerd Squish, and today we're going to be talking about some very important news going on in the world today. No, I'm not talking about the aliens. I'm talking about Halloween Horror Nights 2023, baby. Alright, nerds, the time has finally come. All 10 haunted houses, all 5 scare zones, and everything Halloween Horror Nights has to offer for HHN 32 has been revealed. There's a lot to unpack here. Not only do we have a whole lot of information that they drop down on us, but y'all know I can get a little long-winded, so go ahead, get yourself a drink, get comfy, because we're gonna be here a while. Before we get into all the details, if you're new here, this is Nerd Squish, where we take everything spooky and we take everything nerdy and we squish it all together. So if you like Halloween, horror movies, and pop culture, definitely hit that subscribe button so you can see more videos from us in the future. Now, obviously, I'm not gonna go into too much detail about the houses we already knew about, which is of course Chucky, The Last of Us, and Stranger Things 4. But we are gonna get nerdy talking about everything else that's gonna be at the event this year. So before we get too into it, I gotta take a big ol' sip of Liquid Death. No, this is not sponsored, but hey, Liquid Death, what's up? Y'all watching this? You could sponsor it if you wanted to. Let's start off with our houses. The first one that we have on the list is an IP, and it rounds out the story that we've had going on with the trailers for the other houses. And of course, this is the Exorcist Believer. This, of course, will be following the story of the movie that will be coming out in October, and is a direct sequel to the original Exorcist movie from the 70s. Angela, Catherine, 2 missing girls have been found with no memory of what happened to them, but wherever they went, the ultimate evil has returned with them. Witness a chilling chain of events as you enter the most terrifying scenes from the new Blumhouse film. Okay, so we all kind of knew The Exorcist was coming to the event, whether it was the original, this new one, but we knew it was gonna show up in some form or another. So I'm kind of torn in feelings with this one. I am happy that they chose to go with Believer versus the original, as the original, you know, it mostly takes place in one room, and even though I didn't see The Exorcist when it was at the park a couple years ago, the idea of just going through the same room over and over again, that's just, it's boring. I don't feel that. So at least with this new movie, it seems like from the trailer that we have some different locations. We're not just in this one musty room fighting a demon. So it's a little bit better than that. On the flip side of that, I don't know how I feel about having a property that, you know, when the event opens and this house first starts, the movie's not even out yet. So the gates of Halloween Horror Nights will open and people will walk into a giant spoiler alert. Now, obviously it's an Exorcist movie. I don't think we're gonna have some M. Night Shyamalan twist at the end. It's pretty formulaic. I think we all know how this movie's gonna start and how it's gonna end, but it's still kind of like, well, that's weird. So, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that one. Y'all let me know in the comments what you think. The next house we have is Universal Monsters Unmasked. 4 Universal Monsters, 1 new nightmare. Descend into the Paris catacombs where you and your squad will face a new horde of monsters. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the Phantom of the Opera, the Hunchback, and the Invisible Man. Okay, so any monster's house that they would have announced, I would have been like over the moon. If you know what I'm saying. But I love the fact that they're going in a whole new direction than what we've seen in previous years. Now, obviously, Universal Monsters has been kind of a staple since the beginning, but especially in the last, 3 or 4 years, we've seen them at the event over and over again. Now, you usually see the same characters, the faces of Universal Monsters, if you will. Things like Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the heavy hitters. But here we're going for the underrated classics, and I honestly love this. I know I often talk about how I want my boy the Wolfman to get more love, but honestly, compared to these characters, he gets a lot of love. So I'm excited. I'm excited to, see all of them, except obviously for the Invisible Man, because, well, we're not really gonna see him, are we? Next up, we have Dr. Oddfellow's Twisted Origins. Your soul is a price that he's willing to pay. You won't be able to resist going inside Dr. Oddfellow's menacing menagerie of twisted oddities, but the price for you and your friends is steep. The cost of your souls to feed his immortal power. Okay, it's a little dramatic, but I am feeling this house. Dr. Oddfellow, I'm guessing, although it hasn't been like officially announced, is our icon for the year. If you are not familiar with Dr. Oddfellow, he has been, sort of with the event for a long time, but like, not really. He's connected to one of the biggest icons of the event, Jack. Of course, he is the leader of the Carnival of Thrills, where Jack got his start, and then, some crazy stuff happened. He murdered Jack, and, it's a whole lot of drama. If you want the full story, make sure to check out this video where I kind of uncovered not only his history, but some other history with the event as well. Like I said, they haven't exactly announced that he is the official icon of the year, but with him having this house, as well as being a part of all the scare zones this year, I think it's safe to say that he's gonna be the dude this year. Next up, we have Dueling Dragons, Choose Thy Fate. No matter who you choose, you lose. 2 warlocks of great power were turned into dragons after trying to take Merlin's spellbook. Now you and your friends are caught in their epic battle. You must choose a path and a victor. Okay, so again, all of these houses were on the last spec map. We knew they were coming, but I can honestly say that this is the house that I am the least excited for. Now, of course, this house seems to be based off of the Islands of Adventure's former ride, Dueling Dragons, that featured intertwined and inverted roller coasters. So a lot of these old school theme park bros, they're excited about this. I have a very hard time getting excited about this. I did ride Dueling Dragons my very first trip to Universal Studios, but at the time that I rode it, the dragons weren't even dueling, because people, weren't emptying their pockets, they were throwing things, so you only got one dragon at a time. So I was kind of like, all right, it was a cool roller coaster, but I don't really get it. And on the flip side of that, I'm not a big fantasy person, high fantasy. Obviously, I love fictional stories and going into these other worlds to escape reality. But dragons and medieval stuff, not so much. The only thing that you might consider high fantasy that I'm into is Harry Potter, which I don't even consider high fantasy. That's a mid fantasy, because you still kind of have the real world put into that, right? But I don't know. I'm not excited about this one. That being said, if there's one thing that I've learned about Halloween Horror Nights, you get all these announcements, and you have the houses that you're most hyped for and the ones that you really could care less about. And once you walk through those things, your opinion kind of flips sometimes. So who knows, maybe I'll walk out of this and be like, Dueling Dragons was the best house of all time. But I doubt it. We'll see. The next house we have is Yeti Campground Kills. Yeti or not, here they come. You and your friends are about to venture into a 1950s campground overrun by huge, menacing Yetis who rip apart anyone who gets in their way. You must flee to the Ranger Tower to escape. So if you've been following my updates to the event this year, I think you can tell that I'm not excited about this house, because I was holding on to that tiny bit of hope that this would be a werewolf house, and now it is officially confirmed that my dreams have once again been crushed. Now, I'm assuming this house straight up came from the fact that back in 2019, we had a Yeti house, and they still have a lot of those costumes, and they're like, you know what, guys? We need to save a little money. Let's do that Yeti thing again, but at a camp in the summer versus in the snow. And that's how we got this house. That being said, Yeti Terror of the Yukon was one of the coolest houses in 2019. I didn't expect it to be as fun and to be as scary as it was, and it was really good. So I don't know, I'm feeling it. Would have been better if it was werewolves, though, I'm just saying. The next house we have is The Darkest Deal. Fame is fleeting, fear is forever. Blues musician Pine Straw Spruce will have to face the music after meeting with the Collector and trading his soul for musical glory. You and your squad learn the terrible price of fame. Okay, I love this house. This is probably one of the ones that I am most hyped over, because I love the idea of the crossroads and the blues and just that southern atmosphere. So I'm thinking maybe they're following sort of a storyline of Richard Johnson, who of course met the devil at the crossroads to achieve success in blues music. But can we talk about the fact that they named this man Pine Straw Spruce? They did your boy wrong. And the last house that we have for Halloween Horror Nights 2023 is Blood Moon Dark Offerings. Bleed for the Blood Moon. In a colonial-era village, moon worshippers witness a blood moon at their fall festival. They take it as a sign to hunt down any non-followers, including you and your Scream Squad. Okay, so obviously this one we're getting like a cult, we're getting witches, we're getting something going on along these lines. But when I saw the thumbnail for this, two things popped into my brain that most definitely will not happen in this house. First and foremost, sleep token. I saw your boy in the robe with the symbols and I was like, did I mistake you for a sign from God? Because is this vessel? Are we about to jam out in this house? Because yes, please. I would like that very much, please. Now, also from the get-go, from the first speculation map that had devil dogs, I've had werewolves on the brain. Now, some may say that I always have werewolves on the brain, which is true. I will not deny that. That is a fact. But blood moon? I mean, I'm thinking about werewolves here. Like, they most definitely will not show up, but, you know, a girl can dream. This is thirsty work, y'all. Now let's move along to our 5 scare zones for the event this year. Now, as I previously mentioned, it appears that Dr. Oddfellow is somehow linked to each and every scare zone that we will see. The first scare zone that we have is Dr. Oddfellow's collection of horror. Dr. Oddfellow will lure you into Halloween Horror Nights with a promise of immortality. As he lifts the veil on all the horrors to come, you'll soon realize that you may not even survive the night. Here we have like a little soft intro to Dr. Oddfellow, our supposed icon of the year. So this is gonna be fun, nothing crazy, but you know, just a good thing to like lure you into the event. Next up we have Dark Zodiac. Dr. Oddfellow has entered a dark dimension to harness the power of the Zodiac and live forever. He twists the signs into malevolent beings who foretell your doom. As his star rises, yours falls. Now apparently this concept has been seen at Halloween Horror Nights in Singapore, so it's kind of fun that they're bringing something over into the States, and I love it. The Zodiacs, they can be kind of creepy, you know? So I'm just saying I'm ready to see mine, the Pisces. Like, let's see some like freaky fish person. I'm living for it. I'm ready for it. Let's go. The next scare zone that we have is Jungle of Doom Expedition Horror. In the 1920s, Dr. Oddfellow ventured deep into the darkest jungle, performing horrific experiments on nature. Now his monstrous creations are running amok and are coming after you. Okay, so we finally have figured out the mystery of this jungle scare zone, and I love this idea. I can't wait to see, like, you know, these typical creatures and animals that you would see in the jungle, but like mutated and horrific and just disgusting. I'm living for this, honestly. So, you know, like, welcome to the jungle. Let's frickin' go. I'm getting a drink, I'm strolling through the park, and it's going to be a good time. The next scare zone that we have is Vamp 69 Summer of Blood. At a 60s music fest in a small New York town, you'll jam to popular bands with fellow concert goers until Dr. Oddfellow unleashes vicious vampires on the audience. They're out for your blood. I am loving this. We've already seen some of the props that are in this zone. They're very colorful, very 60s, very Woodstock, and I'm feeling it. Now, we've already seen this vampire concept in scare zones in the past with both Vamp 55 and Vamp 85. So here we go, Vamp 69. Now, it is interesting that it's linked to Dr. Oddfellow. Now, I don't really think that's gonna actually visually be seen in the zone necessarily. I think it's just probably gonna follow the same formula as the other ones where you see stereotypes from this time period. And like, you know, it's vampy Woodstock. What's not to love about that? Now let's just be thankful they're not following Woodstock 99 because that really would be terrifying. And our last scare zone for Halloween Horror Nights 2023 is Shipyard 32, Horrors Unhinged. Enter a 1940s San Francisco shipping yard full of mysterious crates and cages bearing Dr. Oddfellow's symbol. Beware his nightmarish oddities have now escaped, spreading fear and chaos in their wake. So on our last spec map, this area was speculated to be about sirens, which I was like feeling because I was like, oh, with how cool friggin' Dead Man's Pier was last year, like I am all about some sirens. I'm all about getting some like coastal spooky vibes. So I'm wondering if it's gonna be kind of along those lines, but again, just with this link to Dr. Oddfellow. I'm not really getting much in the way of this scare zone, but either way, I'm very excited about it because this is honestly one of my favorite areas for a scare zone. As far as shows go, we only have one show this year, with Nightmare Fuel coming back for the third time with the title Revenge Dream. Now, I am not really excited about this. As cool as the show is, if you've seen it once, you've kind of seen it. You know, like you're good. That was my complaint with last year. As cool as these aerial and pyro stunts are, it was kind of the same basic storyline. Now, I did see that this particular story for Nightmare Fuel this year does follow a new dreamer, so hopefully with that they can kind of reinvent this story and make it something fresh and new for people that have seen him the last 2 years. And look, this is by no means me poking fun at that. If you have never been to the event and you have never watched this show, you have to watch it because it really is amazing. And Halloween Horror Nights did announce some other little tidbits that are worth mentioning. Cabana Bay has had an experience the last couple years that as long as you're a guest at any Universal resort, you can go to. We've seen things like Jack and the Universal Monsters, but this year we have Chucky's Twisted Playground. And basically all this is some photo opportunities. So in this one, you will have 5 different setup Chucky-themed photo opportunities for you to go in there and get your best Instagram post on. And to add to that experience, every single Universal resort is going to have a different Universal Monsters photo opportunity in the lobby, so you can do like a little hunt and get all your photos, which I love that. I think that's a fun idea. And also several of the resorts will have specialty Halloween themed cocktails to go along with the event. And once again, the Red Coconut Club will become the Dead Coconut Club with a fun new spooky overlay and menu. Now this is a must. I know this isn't really part of the event. It's in City Walk and a lot of people don't really make time for this. But it is such a blast. When we went there last year for the Universal Monsters overlay, it was such a vibe. I mean, not only did it look cool, it was a good place to get into the AC, have a little drink, relax, not be in some gigantic line. And you know, when the DJ starts playing the line dances, I couldn't resist. So I highly suggest that you check this out this year. But the question is, what kind of theme do you think they're gonna have this year? I'm thinking Stranger Things, but only time will tell. Leave your best guess down below in the comments as to what you think the theme will be for the Red Coconut Club this year. And the last thing that I want to mention is that apparently our tribute store is going to be themed after a mysterious New York City comic book shop. And this is where you'll be able to experience the tribute to terror. I love this concept. The tribute store, although it can be a little crazy and then you start to feel trapped and it's kind of like IKEA and you're like, how do I get out of this? I just want to buy this t-shirt. This was a mistake. It's still a good time. Whew. Okay, y'all. I did it. That is everything that we have coming to Halloween Horror Nights 2023. And boy, oh boy, this looks like it's gonna be a good year. This event only gets better every single year. And this has not only strong IPs, but really, really good originals. And it's going to be a blast. Although, let's be honest with ourselves, even a bad year at Halloween Horror Nights is still better than any regular day of the year. Let me know in the comments down below which house or scare zone you're most excited to walk through. So I think the houses that I'm most excited for are definitely Stranger Things, the Universal Monsters, and the Darkest Deal, because I'm trying to go to the Crossroads, baby. Can you guys believe that we are already, it's almost August. It's basically spooky season, and it won't be long before we stroll through the gates and we're walking through that fog. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so when new videos hit the channel, you'll be notified. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you nerds in the fog!